All right, everyone. It's another episode of the Claytalkshow. So I know it's been a while since I posted my last video, but I'm going to try to get some more consistent content out there for people with questions and just interested in what the tech field is really like. I've been doing a lot of different things on my own with, you know, work and just started school again and doing other side projects as well, so I can help out other people as I see fit, and also just get them the right guidance as to what to expect if they're making a career transition into this tech industry. So I want to get some more people on here to tell their story and to collaborate with other folks about current trends and issues with the transition into tech. As y'all may know, that it's not black and white as a lot of advertisements are are saying that it is, right? So I just want to touch on that here in a moment. But what I've been seeing, what I've been seeing a lot is we have advertisements on the lack of talent in the tech industry, the lack of people and so many positions that are available and open to be filled. But I also want people to do their research and actually dive deeper into beyond these advertisement ads to what are these roles actually paying you? What type of roles are they? Are they even considered technical roles at all, or IT roles? And these advertisements are usually trying to sell you something. So what are their what is the intention of them selling you their products and services, right? So if you have an example of being a school or a person who's selling you their courses and they say, well, hey, you go through this course and you get the knowledge that you need to start your tech career. And in 90 days, you will be a 90 to $150,000 salary type of person. Now, I want you to actually sit back for a moment and think if it's that easy in 90 days when more people do that route, right? So I know a lot of people want to jump into it for primarily the salary things, but also know that there are other people who are actually doing this type of things already for the last 5, 10 plus years. We're also looking for those opportunities as well. So you're coming in with your 90-day boot camp and previous experience doing whatever other field that you're coming into or coming from, and you're trying to come into whatever position you think you want to do in tech, and you're going against a seasoned veterans who've been laid off in the terrible job market that it is 2023. So you just want to ask yourself, is this actually feasible, right? Now there are some people who are able to break those barriers to entry, and they are able to slide into a company with that 90-day experience and actually have their first technical role. But just know that that is not the norm, that it's an outlier, or that's not the norm, right? So that is also not to say that you must start at, the help desk or something lower level. If you're coming from already a management role and you're saying, I was tired of doing something in management with finance, I want to do something in IT, or but I also want to maintain my income, because that is a thing. We're in inflation times, and necessarily taking a pay cut may not be the best option for a lot of people. So now you have to do your research as to what transferable skills you have and what exactly niche you want to have in the technical standpoint. There's a lot of different fields to go into. I went to a networking event yesterday, and a lot of people that I talked to have said they want to get into IT. And then I asked, well, what particularly do you want to do in IT? That is the bigger question, because it is a broad field. And if you don't know exactly what you want to do, you will find yourself wasting a lot of time and resources and money on unnecessary paths that you would take trying to find the thing that interests you the most. So just do your own research on that end. Now, let's talk about after you find what you want to do, you study up on it, you get some skills, you look into courses like Udemy or Pluralsight that has those background knowledge that you will need when making the transition into the field that you're trying to go into. You take your time and you do that. Now it's time to actually get the job. That is another hill that you have to climb because, as in my previous videos, you will see that a lot of jobs are not actually trying to fill roles, right? A lot of companies are putting jobs out there in the market with no real intention of filling them externally, or they already know who they want to hire. So you're just going through the interview process just to go through it. And it's hard to actually determine that from the outside looking in. But there are some signs that you can see if that really trying to be filled. If you dig deeper into the company, you can see they just had recent layoffs or their income coming into their company as far as growth and opportunity wise, and just reaching out to other people who are also in the company doing similar roles that you're already doing. See if they're really needing people. They're saying, well, no, we're actually not really needing people. They're just trying to source out potential candidates in a upcoming rec that they may open up. And then you know that they're not trying to actually fill those roles that they're posting out. And you might as well just take it with a grain of salt that you may be wasting your time with those type of positions. Another thing you might want to look out for is the gatekeepers. Now, I am talking to the gatekeepers in particular, being certain recruiters and hiring managers, right? Who are telling you that, well, you need X amount of experience to do this job. When in all in all sense, the years of experience thing, it doesn't matter per se if they need you with a particular skill set, right? So that's when you get to asking questions of, well, if someone comes in to apply to this job with 10 years of cyber experience, but doing vulnerability management, but this job wants you to have some AWS or cloud skills. You who have just done the courses in the labs for cloud AWS and you set up EC2 instances, you set up VPCs and cloud infrastructure in your own labs. But this next person who has 10 years of vulnerability management experience, right? It's there. There's a disconnect of years versus actual needed experience. You will be a better fit for that type of role, even though that this person has 10 years of already IT experience, right? Because you have the specific skill set that this company is looking for. So that is why I also tell people find out what you really want to do and narrow down into that particular skill set because you can stand out a lot more in certain job postings. And that just goes to say, don't give up on having to get past the gatekeepers because slowly but surely, a lot of people on LinkedIn and other social sites are calling out the issues with gatekeeping. And those people in those roles, I predict in the next 5 years or less, will be rotated out. And we will have more adequate people who are doing sourcing for candidates to fill open recs. And we'll have uh, more talented HR representatives who are doing hiring who actually know the type of people that they need for the job rather than who sounds the best on paper and who is in the buddy system within the company because that it's a real thing these days. The buddy system, right? Who you know would definitely get you farther than you just being an outsider, right? So now that is what you have to go up against. So It just goes back to show you that it's not black and white when you're trying to make the transition to tech. It's not just go to school, get you a certification, slap it on a resume, and you're going to be golden for these six-figure roles as these programs and boot camps and course sellers are advertising. Like I said, if it was that easy, then guess what? Everybody would do that. Now you have to go above and beyond. You have to go out to these networking events in your local community. You have to connect with people on LinkedIn. You have to consistently post about the things that you are accomplishing and achieving with your learning journey, and focusing on what you really want to do is one of the biggest things. And then making meaningful relationships with certain companies that you may see yourself interested in, with those people who are actually doing those roles, not the recruiters per se. Recruiters, they only know mostly what is presented to them. So if you can navigate around dealing with a recruiter, guess what? You'll just save yourself an unnecessary step of having to go through the recruiter interview with they're using their limited judgment to narrow down who is particularly a best suited person, right? Even though they may not actually know what skills of yours transfer in, if they can't make that determination, then they're going to eliminate you. So the best thing to do is already have a connect inside of whatever position you're trying to go for, because they know what skills are needed and they know what transfers and they know how to elaborate that your certain skills actually fit the role, not just based on paper terminology per se. So you just have to be able to navigate in that sense of standpoint. So just covered going out to networking events, stop falling for advertisement scams of six figures in 90 days, which is not feasible all the time. You have a small percentage of people who reach that goal, and it comes from more than just going through a class and passing a certification. Now, I want to get more people on board and discuss these issues that they're having with um, passing classes and certs and still not able to land jobs, right? So it's like I've done the whole XYZ checklist on what I need to do to get into tech. Now, why am I still having these issues? I want to have more people on here. We're going to discuss these type of things. I want to have group discussions. I want to have recruiters, the HR representative who are looking for people to fill recs, and I want people who are entry level to professional skill all come together and we just all talk about these issues and ways we can overcome them when we are trying to bridge the gap between talent and open jobs, right? So you would think it would be very easy considering the advertisement of we have so many openings, but not enough people. I see it the complete opposite way. Me, I see a lot of people who have knowledge and skills, but not enough real openings to fill those people with a real meaningful job. And we have to also consider that since there are so many people trying to get in, now it's harder to make these higher paying salaries right now. They say, well, we can just offer the most minimalistic salary possible to get these people in because there's just so many, there's an abundance, there's a big pool of people to pull from. Now they have that type of leverage of saying, we'll give you a chance, but we're going to pay you 30% below market value. That's another thing. Now, if you get your skills up, you get your knowledge up, you are in a position to where you don't have to accept those lowball values, those lowball offers, because now they have to pay you for your knowledge, they have to pay you for your skills. And there are companies that are still out there that will do that. And you just have to navigate and find those and don't settle for the first thing that they offer you. Look at the average market value in your city, state, and area, and leverage total compensation packages, the commute destination and how far you have to drive, the time away from your family. All of these things matters when you're trying to consider your salary. And if they don't understand it, then maybe that's just not the company for you. If they don't want to pay you a meaningful wage to support yourself and your family and your work-life balance, then that's just not the place that you should want to be at. You should just keep your options open at all times as well. When you finally accept a role, I suggest always interviewing and keeping your options open because you never know what other opportunities you may have left on the table. When I see a lot of people who land their road or take themselves off the market. They stop networking. They stop going out to events. They stop updating their resume. They stop focusing on improving their skills because they landed the job that they worked so hard to get. And now, in a few years or maybe months or days, because layoffs are unpredictable these days, they are right back looking and they're still in that, they get right back into the square one position of how do I get a job? Now, this is why it's important to keep your options open at all times. Always be upskilling yourself, always be learning because this is the tech industry. You always will have to keep learning new things and new technologies. Now, if there are any other questions about how to translate skills, how to navigate issues that you've seen in interviews or certain questions that you don't have the answer to, then I'm always open, available on my LinkedIn. You just connect with me and shoot me a message or just leave comments in the comment section below, and we can discuss more of these problems or opportunities that you may come across. I also have other resources I want to give out to people. There's so many different channels on Discord and Facebook and LinkedIn groups where a lot of like-minded people come together. And I will leave some links below if you're interested in joining those groups and connecting with other people because connections is key in today's job market. As they like to say, your network is your net worth, right? So the more people you know, the more people that can vouch for your skills, the more people that can get you seen in front of people that can share your profile, the more likely and more opportunities you will have coming towards you, right? So it's time to get out. It's time to get off the keyboard. It's time to go out and to these events and talk to people. It's time to get out the shell if you're a shy person because you have to use every option that you have to get to where you want to go. But that is mostly it for this episode. As I say, I was trying to get more consistent with my posting as now I have a little bit more time after going through all these projects I've just done and completed and things I've been working on. So on the next episode, I hope to get another guest on here and we can discuss more issues that I've come across. I want to get a person who is looking to make the transition and having an issue. So that is going to be potentially the next guest I have on the episode. And then after that, I want to have a group episode where I get a professional other than myself who can see things on the outside looking in and a technical recruiter and then another transition or career pivoting person on a group podcast, and we discussed the same issues I just talked about on this episode, and we just all bring our minds together and come up with solutions to these problems, right? So just join me on the next episode. We're going to try to post these at least once a week now, and stay tuned. There's going to be great content and great resources for you all trying to pivot or people who are already in the industry who can just learn more from different people. So next time on the Clay Talk Show.